Welcome back. So today we're taking a look at the Expert RAW app and how to use it on Samsung flagships. So here I have it running on the S21 Ultra, and you can see I have the latest version as of today, which is 2004.1. And we're going to start off in settings here. You can see the stuff that I have set here. Obviously you want to make sure it's saving in the RAW format, because that's the purpose of Expert RAW. You can see I have auto HDR on so I can get the most dynamic range possible out of this. And then I also like to keep tracking autofocus and grid lines on for composition. And I'll show you how some of this works a little later. So if we come back to the main interface here, let's go from the top down. We just covered settings, and next to that we have the timer, which has 2, 5, and 10-second options. And so if, let's say I pick 2 seconds, and I hit the shutter, it'll wait 2 seconds before taking the shot. And this is useful if you're using this on a tripod like I am right now, just to minimize any camera shake. I can go ahead and turn that off. Next to that on the right here, we have metering modes. And for most cases, you can leave it on the last one, which is matrix. But if you want to know how this works, like if I set it to spot, you can see that it's going to set the brightness of my image here based on just the center, just on that spot. But if I wanted to use the whole space, I can set it to matrix, and it'll kind of consider everything in the scene here. Now in the settings, I had mentioned tracking autofocus, and the way that works is if I tap on this camera here and I move it around, you'll see that it makes sure that the camera stays in focus. So this is pretty useful. And for those of you with the latest S22 Ultra, you'll actually have a fourth option up here for astrophotography. And it looks like the upcoming S23 Ultra will also have this new mode. And this is great for obviously capturing stars at night. And I'm hoping that they bring it to these older devices as well. All right, let's work our way down to the bottom, which has the good stuff. So in the middle here, we have the lens selection where we can go from ultra wide all the way to the telephoto cameras. And Expert RAW is actually great for when you're using the telephoto camera, just because those cameras are not as good as the wide. Now next to the camera selection, we actually have these custom modes. And I'll show you how to use those in a bit. As we work our way down, this is the main section of the app here, where you can actually change the different settings. You can see 5 of them, and you'll see that 4 of them are set to automatic. And we can see that with the A marked in front of the text. And then you can see in the middle we have our exposure, which is set to 0. And if we want to change any of these settings, we can just tap on them like shutter speed here. And if I drag it to the right, you'll see it increases the speed. So you can see my image is getting darker because the shutter speed is becoming faster. And if I go to the right, it will brighten it by slowing down the shutter speed. And then if I tap away from the control, you can see that it's highlighted in yellow. And this lets us know that it's set to a manual value. And if I want to go back to automatic, I just have to tap on this manual button here, and now it's back to where we started. It's important to keep in mind that even if you use this app in all automatic settings, you will see better image quality than using the standard camera app and the Pro mode there. And I'll cover this more in a future video. Now coming back to the settings, other ones that you'll often want to change are the exposure value, EV here. And this is used to just darken the image if I drag to the right, and brighten the image if I drag to the left. The nice thing about this is whatever I set here, you'll see that my ISO and shutter speed will change automatically to make sure I get what I'm looking for. And if you want to reset this, we can just bring this back to 0. Another good one is focus, which is currently set to automatic, but sometimes you'll want to tweak this to get it exactly where you need it. And you can see as I drag this, the green highlights let me know what's in focus. And again, if we want to reset this, we can tap the manual button. Now the last thing I want to cover is how we can actually save our settings. So let's say I'm using this for astrophotography, right? So if I have this set to, let's say, something like 20 seconds, ISO is at its max of 3200, and I want to save this so that I can come back to it quickly. One thing you'll notice is if I go between the different cameras, it actually saves the settings temporarily for each camera. So the wide, you can see, is set to 3200 and 20 seconds. If I come over here to the right, I can actually save this as a custom setting. And you can see it has ISO 3200, 20 seconds, and I can hit create. Now the nice thing here is if I go back and set this all to auto, at any time I can go in here, hit custom one, and I have my Astro settings. Well, hopefully you found this quick overview of Expert RAW useful. I'm going to have another video coming up where I go more into tips and how to edit these files. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.